Welcome to my Java program tutorial. We're going to build password generator GUI with Java Swing. I'm a student from Germany and I really enjoy programming with Java, and yeah, I'll be using Eclipse IDE for this tutorial because I think it's very beginner friendly. And I'm not going to explain how to download and install Eclipse. You can either search it up or there are many tutorials on YouTube on how to get it. I programmed this GUI a few months ago, so I'm copying it off my sheet. I think it's better that way because I can explain everything and the video doesn't take so long. So we're going to create a new Java project, call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it password generate GUI 2. Okay, and I'm not going to create a module, and then go to source folder, right click and create a new package. You can name it whatever you want. And in this created package, right click again, and we are going to need two classes. The first class is the main class. Obviously, we are going to need the public static void main method in there. Okay. And another class, we are creating the second class in this main method, so I'm just calling it subclass sub, and Eclipse oh, Eclipse gives automatically this arrow, so we can create a class directly from here. We are not going to need the main method here because we are setting everything up there, and yeah, there's the main method not needed. So that's it for the main class, and now we're going to write the code, everything in the subclass. Let's firstly implement the action key listener so we can actually control the buttons when we press them. Listener. And automatically you can add unimplemented methods. We come back later to this, but not now. Now we're going to create the constructor, and outside the constructor we're going to create our components like JFrame, JButtons, and text areas and all that stuff. You can call it whatever you want. I call it like JFrame frame. I think it's the easiest to know what you exactly mean with this, and then Eclipse gives you this arrow to automatically import this. I'm going to delete this and type in .star because we're going to use many modules from java.swing, so I don't have to import like every time I create a new one. So, and this star means that everything is imported from java x.swing. And then let's create the frame inside the constructor. So frame dot set default close operation. This is just like if you press on the X, sorry, if you press on the X, the frame closes, so it's not like in the background running and you can't stop it. This is very important because if you don't have this, this red terminal thing here is still like red and not this gray, and it eats a lot of memory from your PC, so I would definitely recommend to write this. And then we need to set the location, so if we press the run button over here, where does it show up? I like to show it up on the PC, like on the middle of the screen. I'm not going to set it exactly on the middle of the screen with like get, width, and height methods. I'm going to create it like easily basically, and that's with 700 and 400. 700 is the X position, and 400 is the Y position, like the up and down, and X is from left to right. And you can experiment with this if you want to. You can just type in 0, 0 and it's plop up here, but I like that it's going to run in the middle of the screen if I press the one button. Oh. And now we are going to set the layout. I explain later why I set the layout to null. I know it's better if you use a layout, because then you don't have to set the buttons manually, but I'm going to explain why I use layout to null later if you're using the buttons. And now we need to set the resizable to false, because I don't want that the user can resize the frame. I think for for password GUI it's not necessary to resize the frame like full screen. I don't see any point to resize the frame, so I'm just going to set it to false, and then we are going to set the size. Like I said at the beginning, I already wrote this like a few months ago, so I set the size. I calculated everything, and this is the perfect size in my opinion for password GUI and for the components we are using. If we're adding more components in the future, we can still change the size to make it like bigger, but for now this is definitely enough. And we obviously need to set the visibility to true, so we can actually see the frame when we are pressing the one button. And as you see, oh, sorry, that's our frame. That's the one. Like I said, it shows directly on the screen like 700 by 400. I know it's not exactly the middle of the screen, but it's kind of near to the middle of the screen, so I like this one. We don't have any title and not any components, but we are going into that now. You can set the title up here by on the declaration by just making quotes and type in your title. I'm going to name it password generator, or you can simply just go underneath here and type in set title. That's exactly same thing. So, and now we are going to add our first button. This will be the generate button, so I'm going to name it button generate. Just simple. You can name it button gen, or I don't know, just I think this is fine, so I named it like this. And now we're going to declare it inside the constructor. Button generate equals to new JButton. And like the frame, you can set the title inside here, but I don't know why, but I don't like to set the title in the declaration, except for the JFrame, because it's just the JFrame and the button. You know, there are a bunch of buttons, and yeah, I just don't like it. So I'm setting the text of it, set simply just with set text, and then generate, because this will be our generate button, and obviously I'm going to name to generate, so the user knows what this button does. And then we're going to add the action listener. Button generate is so this is just like if we press the button, we can the button actually does something in the method down here. We're going back. We come back to this later. And this is just like that. It's in the constructor, and we don't have to declare it outside. So this just means that we are going to declare it inside the constructor, and we can use this inside. Yeah, like the constructor serve. Then we need to set the bounds of the button, like the moves and the location of the component. And this is the X direction, the Y direction, the width of the button, and the height of the button. And I'm going to set this to let me see, 256, 60, and the width 170 and 25 for the height. This is just because I'm going to explain now why I set this to layout to null, because when I programmed this, I was not getting deep enough to this layout section. I don't really know what this layout means and what this does, so I was not like familiar with that, so I just set it to null and manually add the bounds of the buttons. I know that's very yeah, like that's not very good, and it's better to use a layout, but like I said, I programmed this like 5 months ago, or yeah, and I just don't knew the layout thing, how that's work, and yeah, I'm just going to explain this with this one. So we need to set the focusable to focus to false, because that's just, I can show you that by just a moment. Frame that we need to add every component we are declaring outside the constructor, we need to add within the frame, so the frame actually knows, okay, we are declaring a button, and the frame can show this button inside the frame. So we need to add every component to the frame with just this method frame.add, and then just type in your button name. And with that, this is like the generate and the focusable. If I set this to true, you can see this. You can see this little rectangle around the text. I don't like that design and how it's look like, so I set it to false. By default, it's every time true, so you need to actually write this and set it to false. Yeah, you can leave it as this if you like the design, but I don't like this little rectangle around the text, so I set it to true, to false. And then we need to set the background. Oops. There are many colors in Eclipse in java.a.wt. You can search one up here, or just simply Google in your Explorer for hex codes, for RGB color codes, and just type in new color, and then paste the values down here. This is like RGB value, so this is red, this is green, and this is blue. So you can experiment with that, or you can just Google it in your Explorer which color is which like RGB value, and just copy paste down. But for this tutorial I'm going to use color from Eclipse, and it will be light gray because I think it fits very well. And as you can see, as I press enter on my keyboard, the Eclipse IDE just automatically imported this as java.awt color, and yeah, you don't need to import it manually. And now we're going to, let's actually see how it looks like. So this is the background, and as you can see, it's light gray. We're going to set the text, so the foreground of the button, the foreground is always the text, to black. I know it's already black, but it's not like dark black, or it's kind of like light black. So we're going to set it to another color. And this border over here, this line, it's like blue surrounding, we're going to delete because I think it's not looking that good. So I'm going to delete that one with just simply typing set border painted and set that to to false. So you can see this like blue surrounding if my cursor is on the button is done. So just only if you press it, the button like shows that it's a button. So it's kind of like fitting to the rest of the design if you're getting back to this later. Yeah, so, and let's set the foreground, as I said before, with color dot blue. I like to set it blue. I don't know, you can just simply pick whatever color you want, but I think through this like light gray background, blue fits pretty well in it. I just like the design. So yeah, that's for it for the generate button actually. Or did I miss something? No. So that's for the generate button, and we can just copy this for the reset button. So for the delete button, if we press the delete button, the text of the JText area disappears. So just declaring it outside the constructor like every component, and call it button.reset or button reset or button delete as you like, and then button reset declared inside. And just, yeah, like I said before, we can just simply copy this and paste it down, and here comes a nice little feature from Eclipse, and that's another reason I like this IDE very well. It's like this find and replace method. You're going up to edit and then find and replace, and this finds your word you want to replace. I'm going to replace generate because I just copied from above and wanted to replace with button reset, and we can just type press replace all, and as you see it just replaced all, and then we can just close this window, and yeah, it resets all the things. So the button looks exactly like the generate button, but we need to change the text of the button so the user knows what this button does when he presses it. So I'm going to just type and delete. For the color, actually I like if the color from delete or exit or something is red, so I'm just going to name it as red. And the bounce, we need to set the bounce because we can't see the button if we add it to the frame. We can't see the button because it's on the same bounce, the same width, the same height, the same X direction the same Y direction, and yeah, we can't see it, so we have to set this. I set this already, so I'm just going to copy paste this. It's 3, then 128, 100, and 25. And as you can see, oh sorry, the generate button is actually 180. Sorry for that, guys. So yeah, it's like on the same line over here, so it doesn't look like it's so it fits pretty well on the same line here. So I like the design within the when the text areas come down here between these buttons, it kind of fits to this like line here. So I'll leave it as this. That's it for the reset button. We need to create a headline. I don't know why I wrote this with a button. It's not the best way to make a headline with a button. You can just simply make it with a JLabel, but yeah, like I said at the beginning, sorry if I repeat this, but I programmed this like months ago, and yeah, I was not getting like deep into this, so I just made the headline with a J button. So I'm just going to say text or headline, and then declare it inside the constructor, new J button. I know it's probably better to use the JLabel, but yeah, I did it with a J button and it works. So text, obviously we need to set the text of it, and this will be the like, so the user knows what exactly to do with this GUI. So he needs to type in every character he wants in his password. Type in your characters you want in the password, and for that we can just copy this, or actually no, the button will not be clickable, so we don't need a action listener for this because it's a headline, and headlines are like clickable. You can make like an Easter egg if you want to, like if you click the headline, something shows up, but maybe we can do this in the future, but not now. So it's text, so we need to set the font of it so it actually looks like headline. We're just simply doing this with text.setFont, new font, and then I don't know if every font is implemented in Eclipse. I'm just using Arial, the normal standard font for everything, and then font.bold. You can type in italic or plain. I'm going to use bold because I think that's kind of fits to a headline, and then the font size is 15. So this number right here is the font size, and yeah, then just we need to set everything from the button to false to look like a headline. So as I said before, we don't want a action listener, so we don't want that the button do anything if we press it. So we need to set everything to false. So set focusable, like this rectangle surrounded by the text, to false. Then set the border painted to false. False. Okay, and then the focus painted this is just I'm just writing these methods so the button doesn't look like a button and it looks like a headline. So you can just copy this text.set content. This is probably the most important method for this. So we need to set the content area filled to false, so the button is not filled with any color or any other things. So set it to false. So, and this actually looks like, oh, we don't have the bounce, and yeah, we need to add it to the frame. Text, and we need to set the bounce. I already set this, so you can just copy it if you want to. Set bounce 10, 5. Because it's the headline, the X and Y values are very low. The width is 450 and the height is 20. And as you can see, it's like a headline, and you can't press it because the content area is filled. Actually, you can press it, but you can't see that you press it. So because the content area is false, you can't actually see that you press anything here. And yeah, that's why it looks like a headline. I'm going to set this so kind of fits. Yeah, I think that's beautiful, and I think this fits pretty well in this GUI. In the next episode, we're going to create the JText areas, so the input and the output. So actually, if we create so actually the user can type in his characters in the JText area, so we can press generate, and then the output area the password shows up. And we're going to create a new button without any inputs. So if the user is, like, for example, too lazy to type in any characters, he can just press the button over here. It will be next right to the generate button without any input. So you can press this, and it automatically creates a password for the user. Alright guys, see you in the next video. I hope this tutorial was good. I don't know what to say. This is my first video on this channel. I would appreciate any comments or any likes on this video. Yeah, see you guys in the next part.